Well, okay. Here are some basic ingredients that would get you started either way on brewing. Now, well, right out in front, you got a big bag of grains, or malts, as we like to say. This would be for, well, here's a shout out to all the hipsters. But this would be like, that's what would be considered a grain bill. The label, that's what's on here. It's coming in kind of blurry. Hold on, let me zoom in on that. Still coming in kind of blurry. Oh, hold on. Camera's got to focus. There we go. So, this is 13 pounds of grains. And as you can see, it has the grain bill right on it. Usually most places, like I got this from Northern Brewer, definitely recommend them. Northern Brewer, a place like would be Mr. Beer, Brew Demon, and then morebeer.com are all great places that you can go to get these, stuff like this, right? So with these grains, this is for more advanced brewing because you had obviously needed a bigger pot. It's cold right now, so it's outside in the garage. But you have this, and then you have hop pellets. These are, as you can tell, well, you got a Mosaic IPA here, and then you have Mosaic hops. So these, when I eventually brew this, that'll be used. And then more commonly, it would be an ale yeast that would be used with this because this is an Indian Pale Ale. So you use an ale yeast like this, which is one of the more common ale yeasts, or maybe something a little bit fancier, such as this. So this is for more advanced brewing, of course. If you have a lot of equipment, and you're already into the game, then this is something that's highly recommended. Now I'm going to go over to hopped malt extract and unhopped malt extract. So hopped malt extract would be something like this. So you'd see it says American style lager on it, right? And right at the bottom it says premium hopped malt extract. That's what you want. And all you got to do, this is one of the most basic plug and play things you can do with this, right? And what it is you would take something like a pot on a stove, whether you have electric or gas stove. All you would really need is a, brew kettle or vessel. Really, to be honest, I lucked out. I got a nice one. Something like this, right? And you would fill it with that. But you would obviously need to put water in this first. Get it to about 150 degrees. And then you pour this in. So malt extract has like the consistency of, I would say like honey or agave nectar or something like that. And then you would pour this in and let it get viscous and bond with the water. So that way, about 30 minutes, that the malt and the hops should shine through, and then that way you have an easy beer that needs to be fermented. Now, there is, in this kit, as you can see, hopped malt extract, the Black Bishop Doppelbock, and then it comes with a complimentary thing that just boosts the flavor. This would be the Black Horse Creamy Brown, but as you can see, it says requires hopped malt extract. So there's a difference between unhopped malt extract and hopped malt extract, because if you had just this, like Bryce would be another common brand for this, you would need these. And there's all kinds of varieties of hops that bring out different, as you can see, different flavors. And it's going to be more than likely when you get some hops, there's these kind of hops that'll say, the flavors that'll come out on it. And then it'll say what kind of beer styles it usually goes under. Well, this one's got one. And that way you know what your hops are going to complement. is when you use them. So that way, you know, you can really complement the flavors. And now, when we got the yeast, right? So there's two different kinds of yeast. There's an ale yeast and there's a lager yeast when you're going to brew a style of beer, right? So, like I said, I would use these types of yeast, ale yeast, for an IPA, an Indian Pale Ale, right? Or there is a lager yeast. So I would have this, right? I would brew this, and then I would use this type of yeast. This is a lager yeast. So that way it would complement this style. Now you could crisscross these and get all creative, but I mean that's for further down the line and when you get more advanced in brewing. So now you have your containers, right? So I'm brewing this right now, and it's in the process of fermentation. And that's what you want. That right there is a healthy fermentation bubbling, right? And now you have the brew vessels and kettles, right? So this one's electronic. It's got buttons on it, and as you can see, there's a plug. And you just type in, punch in some numbers on the side here. And let me get a good shot of it. Right there, and the numbers pop up, the time and the temperature, and boom, you're off to the races. And I mean, it's a pretty good pot. And now this one is a gas one, which I use more in the summertime and out in the garage. I use both out in the garage, obviously, but this one's a little bit more for the bigger grain bills and, you know, the bolder beers I want to brew, right? So I would go with this for your bigger brew days, and obviously kegs. That's kind of self-explanatory if you've ever been to a bar. And then this is a brew kettle I used to use, but this would just be an example. And just picture a spout or a faucet. I'm sorry. Yeah. A nozzle on this where you can open it up like a nozzle that's on this. So then that way, when you're done with your batch, it pours out into the bucket. And then in the bucket, it cools down, it ferments. So this is this is just something I would use in something like that bigger brew kettle that I had over there. So this is kind of a basic rundown of what you have, could have supply-wise, and what you would be able to do to be able to brew, and to get you started. I mean, this is just a very basic rundown on what you would need to do and how you need to go about it. And another important thing to note is that for brewing and to maintain the clarity of your beer, if you don't want to create like a New England haze on purpose or anything like that, fancy stuff, here is, well, this would just be a bag for grains, right? A bag for grains and any other extracurricular ingredients you might have. And then this is a bag for hops. So you can see this is a smaller bag. And then this is a bigger bag. Well, kind of bigger. Wow, I didn't even realize that it wasn't. So you probably need 2 of these bags, right? Oh, this bag. Okay, well, kind of bigger. But this bag you would need for something like this. So this bag, you would put these grains in and get the water going, get it hot. And you would need this kind of bag for hops. So you need this to there, this, that. So that's about it. Other than that, guys, let me know. I will do more of a step-by-step instructional video, but this is just the basic rundown on supplies.